What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 154. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight, sorry, I almost went into a different intro, but, I got to go back to the normal one. Tonight, I'm drinking a favorite of the podcast, Press Seltzer. However, unfortunately, I have the lime lemongrass flavor tonight. Not a bad flavor by any means, but not my favorite. But you know what? Sometimes you got to make a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying, Joseph?
Oh, I know what you're saying. But tonight I am not sacrificing. Tonight I'm drinking Oberon, baby. You know what it is. It's the spring. It's summer, basically. We're drinking Oberon here.
Does the weather outside say it's summer, Joseph?
Nope, it's like 35 degrees.
There's ice on our steps right now.
It snowed yesterday.
Yeah.
Gotta love the Midwest, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Gabe, and I'm drinking Oberon as well.
What
but
the hell?
in a bottle.
What the frick?
Oh, okay. A
A
little more high class. But Joseph poured his into a pint glass. So I guess Joseph is
glass,
at
yeah.
the top.
I don't know.
I got a full pint of Oberon. So
yeah, you went for the 16 ounces. That's a smart move.
Yep. Plus, you guys had a bunch of bottles, and I was like, yeah, this is going to get real confusing real quick.
Okay, so I go to the liquor store, and I'm like, the only goal was Oberon. I saw it was in stock. It's like right there as I open the door, and it's like, Tim wanted some, so I just got a 24-pack, which is just 4 6-packs, and I just like pick up the crate, go right to the counter, like 2 seconds, like in and out. I know why I came here.
This is what I need, baby.
Oberon, baby.
I love it.
And I am Dayton, and I am drinking some radioactive liquid out of my EWF.
That looks like piss.
It does. You want to know what this is? You want to know what these? It's my fucking hard seltzer, my hard soda. Why they chose to make
yellow?
Why they chose to make the citrus one freaking literally like pee, radioactive pee is beside me. Get like 7-Up clear, Sprite clear. Like, come on.
Yep.
Come on, guys.
Well, Dayton, they're not expecting anyone to pour it out of the can, for being honest. I don't think people usually pour seltzies into glasses.
Why color it?
No, you're not wrong. It's all the natural flavoring. It's
I'm sure this is
color.
There's literally zero. There's nothing natural about this. Okay.
Well, welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, everyone. As always, you can find our show on Monday mornings on YouTube and podcast services. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch at ewf_podcast and follow us on Instagram too. All the links are in the description below. But guess what, boys? We're back. First regular episode in about 2 months, which is very weird. I just looked before we started recording. Our last regular episode posted on January 31st, which is exactly 2 months ago, the day of recording. So we're back. We had our fun with the bullshit bracket. Hope everyone enjoyed that. All those episodes are up right now. If you want to go back and look, I recommend going on YouTube because Dayton did a really good job on the production side, making all the visuals very fun to look at. So go check that out. But if you haven't heard or you didn't see it on our Instagram post, we're going to be doing monthly episodes for the time being. Just for scheduling, it's going to be easier with the summer, people traveling and stuff. And just to give us a little bit of a break, we're going to do monthly episodes for a while. So we're going to shoot for posting on the first Monday of every month. That might get adjusted, but we'll try to keep you in the loop on that. But yeah, we're back. And, we did bullshit bracket. We don't really get to talk about ourselves on the bullshit bracket that much. So honestly, I don't know what the fuck you guys are up to, how you're doing. So let's take a minute to relax and see how everyone's doing. I'm going to go to Dayton first. Dayton, how you been?
I've been pretty good. Haven't really been doing a whole lot of anything crazy. Recovering from some minor injuries. Almost fully healed now, so that's good. Been working a lot on my motorcycle. It's finally getting to be warm enough out here to ride. And yeah, I mean, as Jacob said, I put a lot of time and effort into the bullshit bracket. Spent a lot of time learning some new software, teaching myself some new skills, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and actually, if you go to YouTube for this episode, you can see the new overlay that Dayton made, which is pretty nifty. So we're trying to add a little more color into our setup, and we had to actually have our new logo up as well. So doing a little bit of a refresh here at the Entrance Not Filters channel. But yeah, I'm glad to hear it, Dayton. Joseph, how are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to think. I don't.
What was the last episode? I was gonna ask.
Yeah, what was the last?
I try to think of like the last what was the
The last
last
episode was We Love This Podcast. We looked back on the podcast and the
what
things
month
we liked
was
about
that?
it. January.
Was it January?
Posted end of January.
Okay, so I know where we need to catch up. Okay, good.
What did I do in February, man?
I do. It's all a blur, man. Right? It's all a blur.
I honestly got nothing.
Joseph, I don't need the full. I don't need, just how you doing right now? How's your week
I'm doing
been?
great.
You know,
I'm gonna be going to Myrtle Beach in like 2 days with my family. So finally get to experience some warm weather for once. Looking
Supposed
forward
to be
to
50
that.
this weekend, dude.
I know, and it's gonna be 65 in South Carolina. 65 and sunny, baby. Actually, it might hit 70s. Anyway, that's kind of the big thing I've been looking forward to recently, and then gonna be moving into our new place after that. I went to Top Golf not that long ago. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fun experience.
Mhm.
Wasn't I didn't have to pay, but we looked at the prices and it didn't look like it was overly expensive, other than the food and beer. But
That's how they get you every time.
yeah, so definitely something I'd be willing to do again. So yeah.
There we go. Gub, how are you?
What's up? Busy. I guess trying February. I ended up going out west with a coworker of mine. We did a little bit of snowboard trip. That was pretty fun. And then he promptly left the company, which kind of sucks.
He's like, that trip with Gabe sucks so much. I'm out of here.
Yeah. No, he's on my soccer team, so I still see him a lot. But no, this snowboard trip was really fun. It's my first time out in Colorado snowboarding in the winter, so that was a good time. What else? Yeah, so shit about work. I got to go to Alaska for work. That was really fun. Got to go to Ketchikan, Alaska. Not like what you're expecting. You're thinking like Alaska, like Anchorage or something.
Right.
This is like basically Canada. It's like technically part of the rainforest and shit. Super pretty, super fun. Well, the work part was awful. I'm still dealing with it, but the actual like views were really cool and super fun.
Was it a small town? Like how big is
Yeah, so they mostly exist because in the summer cruise ships stop there. Like it's a stop for refuel and like part of a cruise and stuff. So
Gotcha.
a lot of it is in tourism. It was very touristy for sure. But yeah, it was gorgeous. Super pretty place to be. A lot of mountains last couple months, I guess. Still been playing soccer a lot, hanging out with those guys. One of our goalie ended up spraining his wrist or some shit yesterday. That sucks, but it was also like way too late. Like the game got done at 11 p.m., so that was a bummer. But been fun hanging out with them, and I've been doing the millennial thing of playing trivia with them every now and then, which is
Trivia's a good time, man.
it's pretty fun. I didn't expect it to be very fun, but
Yeah.
it is. And then I got my road bike busted out, riding that around. Tim and I did a little lap around uptown earlier, scouting out my routes. I'm gonna try and do that a lot more because we got a race coming up, and trying to kind of poach some of my soccer friends into becoming bike friends. It's the goal. So see how that goes. And then, like Joseph was saying, we're moving here soon, so and focusing on that, spending a lot of money on furniture like a real adult. It sucks, but it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a cool place. So a lot of shit going on.
I'm excited for you to move, and I want to hear about your experience living alone because this is the first time you've really lived alone.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like I feel like everybody I've talked to is like, you're gonna love it, but also sometimes it gets a little lonely. That's pretty much the review I've been getting.
That's been my experience.
Yeah, I think overall it'll be good. I'm usually pretty good about finding social interaction when I want it and keeping busy. So I think it'll be fine. But I'll leave the review later on.
We'll find
Stay
out
tuned.
a couple months for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, this semester's been kind of weird. I've been work from home this entire semester, basically. I haven't had anything like any experience in the lab, so I've just been in my apartment for like 90% of my time. Which, pros and cons. It's been mostly fine, but sometimes I have a hard time getting motivated to actually do work. Um, One thing that's been helping slash hindering is that my friend Chris calls me every day of the week. He's he has to drive to work like throughout the day because he's a physical trainer, so he'll have patients at random times. So whenever he's driving, Diaz calls me, and he knows I'll answer because I'm working from home. And it's like, Chris, I love you, but he always has this habit of calling me right before I'm about to start working, and it's like this is not productive, but I gotta answer. It's Chris. Um, and speaking of Chris, I was at his bachelor party last weekend back in Minnesota. So I drove out there on Thursday, and then I went up to St. Cloud for the bachelor party, and Perk was there as well, friend of the podcast. We did an escape room, and we had 12 people there, so we had to split into two groups and two groups of six for two escape rooms. I tell you what, my group whooped ass. All right, and I don't want to say I was the MVP, but I was kind of the MVP, dude. We were just murdering this escape room, right? We had like no hiccups, just blasted through it. We got on the leaderboard. It was a good time. Um, and then we went back to our Airbnb. People drank way too much. I did not, and I'm thankful that I didn't because I didn't really get hungover at all the trip. So that was a nice bonus. Joseph called me a front wiper. I don't care. All right, I'm too old now. I'm too old to drink, Joseph.
Oh my
Last time
God.
I got
You are
hungover, it was a
not.
bad time.
You're mid-20s and you're too old to drink.
I'm getting too old, kid.
What?
But yeah, then Saturday we just like hung out in the house, drank, ate way too much food. Had a Rocket League 2-on-2 tournament, which I did not win, as you might have guessed. Um, Played a lot of Mario Kart and Smash, but it was just good to kind of get out of Indiana and just be with some people I hadn't seen for a long time from high school and stuff. So yeah, and then I drove back on Monday, and here's the thing: if you remember from me telling these stories in the podcast, I've driven from Minnesota to Indiana 3 times. Way there, never have any issues. On the way back, I always run into fucking something. First time, car broke down in Wisconsin. I was stuck in Wisconsin for 3 days. Second time, horrible winter storm. It took me like 10 and a half hours to get home. Brutal. I'm like, what's it gonna be this time? Okay, they're getting not as bad every time, but I swear halfway through my drive home, my right taillight goes out. And so every time I have to switch lanes, I'm having a heart attack, hoping these people like don't, get mad at me or run into me or whatever. So that was just a pain in the. It was not that bad, but it's a pain in the ass. Finally get back on Monday night, and I'm like, all right, Tuesday I gotta get my taillight fixed. And I had a bulb already, so I'm like, oh, it'll be easy. I'll just, go in my trunk with a screwdriver, take the panel off, do the switcheroo, and be all good to go. I can do it myself. Next day, on Tuesday, look up a YouTube video, and I'm like, maybe I can't do this because I need this like certain socket wrench or whatever. Because Ford's fucking idiots and make it impossible to access your fucking taillight. So I roll over to O'Reilly's Auto Parts. I'm like, yo, can I rent a socket wrench? And they're like, we don't got those. We have this random tool cart of just random shit. You can take whatever you want from there. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we got nothing for you. I'm like, all right. And I go over this thing. I need an 11 millimeter, whatever it's called. I don't know, 11 millimeter thing.
Socket.
They got 10 and they got 12 socket. They got 10 and 12. They don't got 11. Of fucking course. The one I need is gone. So I try all this shit. I'm out. It's fucking cold and windy. I'm in their parking lot trying to get this fucking socket off. It's not working. And I'm like, fuck it. I can't do this. I'm not a mechanic. I'm going to fucking Midas and hopefully they can just do it fast. I roll up in there with a bad mood. I'm like, hey, can somebody just take these goddamn bolts off my car so I can change out this fucking taillight? And they're like, hey, we can do it. Just like chillax. We can do it like 30 minutes. I'm like, fine. They do it. Whatever, easy enough. And I'm like, all right, how much is it going to cost me? Because I didn't want to pay money for this. But, I'll have to if I have to. And the guy comes back and he's like, you can go. I'm like, no charge? Like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, thank you. I needed this today. You guys are the best. I'll be back. Midas is a great spot. So anyway, got that taken care of, did my chores, yada, yada, yada. And then rest of this week, this has been just a fucking long week with all that stuff and then work stuff, and very excited it's Friday tomorrow. But overall, I'm doing all right. But I'm glad I'm not traveling anymore. And I'm glad I'm almost done with this semester because goddamn, it's been a fucking long one. But yeah, that's that. So let's get into our topic for tonight. Dayton, I'm gonna give a little bit of intro and then I'll let you intro the rest of it.
Okay.
Because so There's a YouTuber that I'm a big fan of called Daryl Talks Games. Found him a while ago, and his kind of shtick on YouTube is that he makes video essays that combine psychology research with video games and kind of, or how people play video games, and kind of approaches different, angles within that sphere. And I think he's a totally underrated content creator, deserves a lot more subscribers. Some of the best videos I've seen on YouTube. But his most popular one is called How Personality Affects the Games You Play. Just trying to figure out, like, does your personality change what games you enjoy or not enjoy? So I watched that like a few months ago, really liked it, and then I recommended it to Dayton recently. And then that kind of spawned into this topic. So Dayton, why don't you give us the intro?
Yeah, so, Jacob recommended me this video, and like a good friend, I take those recommendations to heart, and I watch those videos. So yeah, I found like myself like relating a lot with this video that Jacob was talking about, and I ended up taking the test myself, and found it kind of interesting, because like it breaks you into I think it's 9 different like gamer types, like what like your gamer personality is. So I don't know. Do you want me to go through the 9?
Yeah, let's go through so this is the Quantic Foundry Quantic gamer type. So yeah, these researchers basically can put you in one of these 9 categories as a gamer, as a hardcore gamer. Yeah, Dave, why don't you go through them quick?
Yeah, so the first one is the acrobat. And I guess this is somebody that likes games like Spelunky, Celeste, Super Metroid, Tetris, the like, and it just the title or like the subtitle is just flexing my reflexes. The next one, Gardener, subtitle on that one is quiet, relaxing task completion. Popular games in that would be Candy Crush Saga, Solitaire, Animal Crossing, Sims, Super Mario. Next one, Slayer, subtitle of Cinematic Mayhem with a Purpose. Popular games Firewatch, Uncharted, Inside, Tomb Raider, Detroit Become Human, and The Walking Dead Telltale series. The Skirmisher, jumping into the fray of battle. Popular games Rust, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Escape from Tarkov, Valorant, DayZ. Gladiator, which is dedicated and hardcore gaming. I don't recognize a lot of these, but Mobile Legends, Dragon Nest, Destiny, okay, I know that one. Terra, Vainglory, Gears of War, Black Desert Online, and Monster Hunter. And then Ninja, which is a duel of speed and skill. So popular games being StarCraft, Street Fighter, Super Smash Bros, Melee, Dota, CSGO, League of Legends, OS, and PUBG. Bounty Hunter, high octane solo world exploration. Saints Row, Far Cry, Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs. Architect, my empire begins with this village. Europa Universalis, 4, Civ series, Banished, Crusader Kings, Baldur's Gate, and then the last one being Bard, playing a part in a grand story. City of Heroes, The Secret World, Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings Online, and Animal Crossing and Undertale.
There we go. So we've done a lot of personality tests on this podcast.
We have.
So we'll do what we normally do, which is, talk about what our results are and then how well we think that it fits us.
Yep.
So I'm going to go to Gub first. Gabe, what were your primary and secondary types, and how do you feel it fits your personality?
Yeah, I got the Skirmisher, so that's like the fast-paced team arenas that are accessible and easy to jump into, highly spontaneous, and dislike games that require thinking and planning. And then my secondaries are social and then immersion. So I think overall, I think it's like probably of the 9 boxes, I think it makes the most sense. I definitely like a lot of the quick, fast, kind of like high intensity games. But I think overall a lot of my types of games are pretty broad, so it's kind of hard to think for anybody really. But I have a pretty wide gamut of games depending on my mood. I think it's almost like reading a book to me, where like sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling like a nonfiction this time or something. But
Right.
if there was one for me to pick, I think this is definitely it. Like this is definitely the type of game that I'd play, like Doom or like any like quick reflex
Mm-hmm.
high intensity games are really fun and satisfying for me, like just kind of blowing off steam. Um, and other social games that also do that, like Halo's pretty fun. I My first online game ever was Call of Duty. Uh, Played a ton of that. Um, I think Rocket League's kind of the same boat. Like it's pretty fast paced, a lot of social interaction, and I don't know. I like the games that are quick. They're easy to pick up, but like hard to master type of a deal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of anybody can play it. There's not like a 12-hour learning curve and you're miserable until it hits 13 hours. Like if I'm playing a game, I want to have fun. So I want to have fun right away and then like have an ability to get better and it still be fun the whole time.
You
So
don't want to play a game where it's like it gets good for 7 hours. That's not you.
absolutely not. Fuck that. Why would I put time into it? I don't know. Like I feel like video games to me are just like a way to blow off steam or to relax. So it's like I want to interact with other people or I want to like just I don't know, destroy shit or do something super fast.
That
I
quick
don't want to
dopamine.
learn. Yeah, but that's not to say I don't play those games time to time. Like
Right. Well,
think we should mention when you enter this, it's like you're entering the latest games you've played. You know.
right.
So I've played like Fire Emblem, which is like the opposite of this description, like a
Right.
turn-based game. And I love that game. Great game. Played a couple of them, but
Right. And
I
this, I
think
think it's called like the gamer tendency profile. So it's like what you tend to gravitate towards. It's not going to be your
sure.
entire thing. And like you said, yeah, when you put in your results for this quiz, it asks you what games you like, and based on what games you pick, it'll probably drastically change your results. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Joseph, what about you?
Um, so I willfully misinterpreted some of these questions because I thought it'd be funny. So I
God
also
damn it,
got
Joseph.
skirmisher
That is
um
not true.
with no
Yeah.
secondary.
I feel like that's
Um,
not true at all.
the reason being is because it's like jumping into the fray of battle and not planning. It's like, yeah, I do that, but it's in a way of like when you play battle or why can't I think of it?
Halo? Or
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
When
Uh-huh.
we play Borderlands, I just run straight into it. No planning. I don't think about what gun I'm using. You know, I'm not good at it, and I don't really particularly enjoy it unless I'm playing with like you guys.
Hmm.
But it's like I don't care for like the twitchiness of it. It's like, yeah, I get to shoot shit and like destruction. It's like, yeah, I like throwing grenades, but like not in the way that they're like I don't know. I feel like the questions were clearly to like an ends, you know?
Right.
Obviously because there's the 9 categories, and I was like, yeah, I like destroying shit. It's like, yeah, as in I play Breath of the Wild and I just cut grass or like, chop down trees, and it's like, yeah, destroying shit. Or like in Far Cry, how you can like create forest fires, at least in like I think Far Cry
Yeah.
2 you really could.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, I like doing that. It's not like necessarily part of the game or like whatever. It's not what they're going for, but I
Hmm.
like doing it. And so some of it's a little wonky, but yeah, apparently I'm got skirmisher.
Okay. Well, I'll go next because one of mine is what I thought you were going to get, Joseph, which is Slayer is my
Mhm.
primary, which is Slayers want to be the heroic protagonist in a cinematic story. There are solo gamers who enjoy highly curated narratives and slower paced gameplay. So it's like the solo, single player, action adventure type stuff, which I'm playing a lot recently. Like, Elden Ring, I'm all about it right now. Can't stop playing it. So I was thinking Joseph for you with the Assassin's Creed games. It's more of like a
Yeah,
Slayer type game. Um,
but within those, there's like, you can either do the stealth version. It's like I know I just walk
mhm.
fucking straight through the front door and kill people. Like
There's no strategy.
like I just kind of throw strategy out the window which is why I'm bad at video games. But so like it makes sense, but it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I feel
But
you.
anyway, continue.
I also got a secondary type, the gardener. Gardener's looking for quiet, relaxing task completion, and that definitely fits too. Because for two reasons: one, like Stardew Valley is one of my favorite games because you can just like chill out and just do stuff, kind of just build out some stuff. But then there is a side of me that goes into the completionist stuff pretty hard, like especially when exploring like an open world or exploring any game. Like I want to find every single look in cranny, find any loot. Like Borderlands, you just mentioned. Like I gotta open every chest. Do every
Click the
side
green
quest.
button.
It's the green button, man. Like I gotta do it. I'm not an achievement hunter though. Achievements are kind of an extra step where some of the shit you have to do for achievements is like annoying. But I like when I'm in a world finding everything I can. And that's why Elden Ring taking me so goddamn long to finish. I'm trying to find every little thing. That world is too massive. But yeah, I think this kind of captures kind of a good part of my gamer, profile, I guess. I'm with Gabe, like sometimes I want to just play like Doom or Halo and a little more competitive or more fast-paced action.
Mm.
But I think overall, I am looking kind of for more of a cinematic-ish story with some good action. Like Witcher 3 is an example of a game of a lot of us play. That's that. So yeah, I think it's pretty on par. Dayton, before you say yours, can I make a guess on what one of yours is?
Yes.
Are you a ninja?
No, I'm not.
Damn it!
Wait,
I
what
could have
is
swore
what
you're
is
gonna be a ninja.
what is the let's
Wait,
see what the ninja
now let me
is.
guess.
Wait, hang on a second. I want to read what the ninja is first. So the
So
ninja
ninja
is
is
a
the
duel
duel
of
of speed and skill.
skill.
I thought because
And
Rocket League. I thought that would be all you'd be all about it.
no, the games that it has are StarCraft, Street Fighter, Super Smash Bros, Dota, CS:GO, League of Legends. I've played a good number of those, and I've liked a good
Yeah.
number of those. But
Okay, are you more acrobat then?
well,
Or
hang on a
high-flying
second.
antics?
Gabe wanted to take a guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you're an architect. And like I don't think you like play a lot of strat games, but you and I both play Rocket League, Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
You play it so differently than I do. Like you are always looking to min-max. Same thing with Borderlands. Joseph's running in there.
That's true.
You just like absolutely do way into the weeds, do this complex build, and I'm somewhere in the middle. You
Mhm,
are always like trying to like min-max your shit. Diablo 3 when you played that in college, same shit. Like I think that's it's gonna have to do something with like you trying to min-max your
That's a
like
really good
power
point.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my main type is the architect.
Yes. Fuck
Nice.
Yeah, and then my secondary is acrobat. So
Okay.
the way
That
that
makes
I
sense.
interpret that is that the architect side is like Gabe was saying, like fully understanding like everything about this game so that I can like min max everything. Like absolute efficiency, get some stupid builds out there where like things like stack on top of each other like repeatedly. Like that Borderlands 3 one
Your
where it was like
Borderlands build.
my speed build.
God, I hate that so much.
You always had like the dumbest builds, and they either worked like stupid good or absolutely never worked.
Yeah. And then the acrobat, the way that I take that is like, it's kind of in like a similar vein where like I like to like fully grasp like the entire system of like in all the mechanics of the game that I can possibly learn, like in Rocket League, like learning like everything that I possibly can, which is why I have like an absurd amount of hours in that game.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say it's very, very on point for myself. I would say.
So for your primary being architect, have you ever played like a Civilization
Yeah.
game or a Civ type game?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to play. I mean, Joseph and I used to play Civ in college.
Yeah.
A little bit. Let's see. What are the other games that Architect says
Uh,
it?
Europa Universalis was the same thing. Crusader King, same thing. Baldur's Gate. These are all like the same kind of.
Like,
There's like those
yeah.
like Baldur's Gate and Pillars of Eternity are like the D&D type ones.
Yeah, I
Which
played
me and you tried to
Banished.
play. Me and you tried to play Divinity Original Sin 2, but that fell off pretty quick. But that was a D&D kind of type game.
Mhm.
That you can min max quite a bit. We didn't really get as far enough to get to that point, but
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that like my spin on the Architect is a little bit different than like their type.
right. So going down into the next area where like your motivation, your gamer motivation profile. There's like the 6 in the hexagon. I'm
Yeah.
curious where you guys are kind of strong there. So for me, number one's immersion, which definitely makes sense. I think at least the games I played recently, I'm very much going for immersion because for me, games are my distraction. They're my escape from the world. I want to like get into the world of the game. So immersion for me is number one, and then social, which is interesting because I don't play a lot of. But I think social for some reason I always think of the fighting game community, which social could just be playing with your friends, which I really enjoy playing with you guys. But I usually don't go into like the Reddits of the games I'm playing too much. And then other ones that are higher action and achievement. Achievement's a completionist, and action is just kind of straightforward. But yeah, where are you guys at for your motivations?
Yeah, I'm at action at 94%, which I
Oh
think
my
makes
god,
sense.
94%.
Okay, all the
Oh my
recent games
god.
I've played have been like that though. Like I
Yeah.
definitely, like I've said, I've played like slower pace, like games like that are just very story driven. But like lately, I've just been monkey brain gaming. Like I've been looking for cheap thrills, you know.
Yeah. God damn.
Uh,
Mine was 38%. You're out here with a fucking over 90. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean they're fun, so that's what I'm at. And then 82% social, which I think makes a lot of sense based on the recent games I've played. I definitely get in moods where like all I'll do. Sometimes I even play a game that I don't really care about just because other people are playing it. It's fun.
Mm,
Um, just like as an excuse to do something with people I don't talk to a whole lot.
right.
Um, and then I have 62% immersion, which I think makes sense. I do like good stories. Like I said, sometimes I'm just doing single player stuff. Other times I'm doing social stuff. And then my last like notable one would be achievement at 45%, which I think is like the perfect number because I go for like side quests, but I don't do them all. I just
Right.
kind
You
of
want a little bit, but not too much.
I want a little bit of extra world, but like some of them like are blatantly dumb or boring. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing these all. Like that's not worth it.
I can do another fetch quest.
Yeah, exactly. But like in The Witcher, when they like get this pan, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find the pan. That's hilarious. Like it's making fun of fetch quests. But some of them are just like, this is stupid as shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. Just what about you?
So I also have action as the highest. However, it's 69%.
Nice.
Hey.
So also for these percentages, I was reading it's based on your percentile among other people that have
Oh, yeah,
answered
yeah.
it.
Yep.
So it's relative to other gamers. So I'm in the 69 percentile of action or whatever.
Nice.
And then my next highest is achievement at 47 and creativity at 45.
Oh, okay. Where do you think the creativity comes from?
I like I don't know, like creative type games. I don't know. Like just kind of bullshit my way through games and seeing what I can do.
Seeing what
Aga
works.
Yeah, again, like I willfully misread some of these questions or misinterpreted these questions where it's like creativity and destruction. It's like, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
destroy, I want to see what I can destroy. I want to see how I can destroy it. But like not in a way that's like, I don't know, just like random useless chaos, you know?
Right. I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
I got you.
Um,
Dayton.
So you were clowning Gabe for having some in the 90s. I've got two in the 90s.
Oh,
Oh
God.
shit.
The
Damn,
first one being
fucking nerd.
Mastery at 93%.
Yep, I could have guessed that.
Yep.
And then Achievement
Achievement.
at 90%.
Mm.
So I think those are like very, very on point. Like I will do everything in my quest log. It doesn't matter if I want to, I will do it.
I have to clear it out.
You and I are like opposite, like complete opposite gamers. And like when we play games together, it's the funniest shit. Cause like us be going around like, oh, this one looks funny. Like I'm gonna go pick up quests, and then you would just pick them all up. I'm like we're gonna do all these, and some of them like definitely suck. Like it's XP, bro. Like we need it.
Well, and then you get over leveled, and then you
And
just
then
like
it
on
gets
out
way
the rest
too
of the
easy.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too easy, but like
Yeah.
you still
I
gotta
don't
do
want
it
to play
anyway.
with you guys. You guys are under level. This shit's so easy with me now.
I
Fuck you,
mean,
man.
when we get in the really hard, like more like raid style bosses and those type of games, it's definitely nice and helpful. But Borderlands, you can be like 3 levels under, 5 levels under, be just fine.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
and Borderlands 3 scales it too, which is good.
that was
Yeah,
nice.
I was just
Yeah.
trying to think of a game that like Dayton and I both have played recently, like most of the way through together. It's like the first one that kind of comes to my mind. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I think it's really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and like achievement, I think that's pretty much on point as well. I and then for action and immersion, both of them were tied at 47%. So like there's kind of middle of the road, I would say. And Social 14%. Basically
Nice.
saying that I do not want to play with other people. which I think is reflected in my Rocket League tendencies. Where
I was gonna bring that
Yeah.
up too.
Where-
We'll play, and I'll like try and talk about our day or whatever. But if it's in the game, Dayton doesn't talk to me. It's
Yeah.
just
No,
silent.
he's in
It's
gamer
dead
mode.
air.
I'm
It's
in
like,
the freaking zone.
yeah.
And also just like reflected where if I'm like, oh, I only have 45 minutes. I'll play Rocket League, but I'm not gonna play any games. I'm just gonna go on free play for 45 minutes.
Which is insane. I don't know how you don't get bored.
Can't do
I
that,
get
yeah.
so bored in free play.
Dayton just
It
wants a
makes me
second
mad.
job that he doesn't get paid for. That's why that's the only mindset.
And then creativity
and then-
is laughable at 8%.
God, all mine are way less than your guys's. Like
Maybe you're just more
my hexagon is very
well-rounded.
small. I guess, but like I don't know. I'm not high percentile in anything, but whatever.
I mean,
It's
my
fine.
lowest is 23.
Yeah,
My
I'm
lowest
a
is
7.
3%. Mastery's at 3% for me. I don't care about getting good.
Dayton's screaming internally right now.
That's why I'm
I
terrible
am-
at Rocket League.
I
Like
am.
it's too hard. I'm not doing it.
That's honestly
And the
so
last thing I
funny.
want to talk about is the secondary motivation. So if you click on that button, it'll switch to secondary. I got some numbers on this one. I got 80% on completion and 1% for power underneath it because I don't care about. I don't have the fantasy Joseph has of just blowing shit up. I just want to complete stuff out. I don't need to destroy anything. And then fantasy's at 63 over 21% story, which I think is interesting because I feel like I care about story quite a bit, but I think the fantasy coming from the immersion aspect, or I really want to just be immersed in the world more than the
Mhm.
story sometimes. And then excitement, competition, and discovery are around like 40-ish, which is whatever. And then challenge is at 7%. So I'm not trying to play
I'm
anything
playing
that
Elden
pisses me
Ring.
off. Yeah, Elden Ring's not as hard as people think it is. And like
Okay.
I've beaten like Hollow Knight and Death's Door, which some people would probably say Hollow Knight is a hard game or hard at points. I guess like if I feel like I can do it, I will do it. But if I hit a wall, I'm not gonna just wait until I get good or like put in hours and hours and hours. I'm just gonna do something else. So,
Have you played
but it
Fury?
also
That game.
no, I know about it though.
That one's pretty fun. It's hard. Same boat though. It's like you just gotta play it like 20 times, like one boss, and then you finally get
Right.
it.
Well, and I think part of this too is like what you were saying earlier, Gabe, of like just the games I put in aren't like super challenging games. So it's
Sure.
probably a little bit skewed right now, but it mostly works out.
Mhm.
Dayton, or just you were laughing at me. Did you have a high power? Is that what I'm guessing?
Kind of. My funniest to me is destruction. I have 89% and excitement 33%.
I feel like those go hand in hand.
I know. But another one that I thought was funny was power is 66 and completion is 34, which reminded me of which Dayton, I think you had a similar experience playing Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor.
Oh yeah.
And you get like 75% through the story, and you just like all of a sudden level up beyond pretty much all the grunts in the game.
Mhm.
And so you just clown on everybody. And it's like, yeah, that was fun. Like I didn't care about like getting all the runes in it or whatever. It's like I got to the point where it's like, oh yeah, there's a mob of 60 guys in front of me. Oh, I'll take them, no problem. Just murking all these people.
It's like I am a god and I'm loving it.
Yeah, that was definitely a top tier. And
Dude,
reminded
that was a
me
solid
of
game.
that.
I totally forgot I played that game.
I know, like the beginning is like kind of rough, but like once you get like past that like power point, it's like, oh yeah, I just fucking destroy all these mid-level grunts, like they're nothing.
Dave, anything a note on yours? Oh, sorry, just in more.
Well, I was gonna say it was interesting that the power and completion for me were inverses, 34 and like 66. Like it was the other ones like don't add up to 100.
Yeah. Good point.
But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but all of mine are, one is the high end of the spectrum and one's the low end. I don't know I don't know enough of how this data was taken, if they're correlated or if they're technically opposites, but
no, I mean, like
I know. I think I think there's just 12, and this is the best way they could show it.
Yeah.
But
like
if I remember correctly from the
they
YouTube
didn't wanna do
video.
two
I think the two that are right beneath each other are like those two are correlated, I think, and those are like probably composited to make your your primary motivation. That'd be my guess.
Okay.
Sure. Oh,
But-
sure.
But yeah, but like if I'm high in one of the secondaries, the other one that's related to it, I'm low in.
I don't have
For
that for
all
all
of
of
them.
mine.
I don't have that either.
I
Oh,
agree.
it's-
I agree with Dayton. I think these two combine onto the primary. So, like for example, fantasy and story affect your immersion stat.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm
I'm
And
sure
saying.
it does.
challenge and strategy affect your mastery stat. Sorry
Yeah.
for audio listeners, we were just saying this. Basically, there's two things that go into each of the primary ones, and we're looking at those right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
sorry. Dayton, for you.
Yeah, for me, the only ones to like note, I would say, are like for like the under like the creativity primary motivation, the two secondary motivations are discovery and design. And for me, discovery was 40% and design was 3%. So
Mhm.
I
Oh, I
think
had the same shit.
that's like I think that's why I enjoyed No Man's Sky so much. Was
Yeah.
because like that game's like all discovery, just like
Yeah.
learning about all these different planets and stuff like that. And then I mean, and under like the two like primary motivations that I had high scores in, the achievement and mastery, those were all just like ridiculously high. Like challenge, 98%.
God damn.
Yeah, so like of course I'm gonna rank high in the primary motivation for that one. But
Nice.
Makes sense.
Gub, anything you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean the reason I have such a high action scores that have excitement at 86 and destruction at 95, which I think makes
Dang.
sense. It's fun. And then the other one of note I'd say would be competition at 86 and community at 69.
69.
Love to
Right.
see it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Those are probably like the two big categories. Pretty standard.
Well, yeah, so that's the gamer motivation profile. I'll have a link to it in the description, but if you want to just Google it, it's the Quantic Foundry gamer motivation profile. If you are a gamer and you want to find out more about yourself, there's also a nice recommendations tool that you can click on, and it'll give you some recommendations for games you might like based on your profile, which is kind of a neat feature.
I had one more comment before we swap. We watched the YouTube video. I actually watched it.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
I did that. There was a moment where he talks about, like you were saying, it's a lot of psychology. So a lot of it was on like nature versus nurture and stuff.
Mhm.
And I think there was a section of the video, if I remember correctly, that was like trying to see, based on personalities, what type of games people would like. And I think a lot of it, and this ties into personalities too. Like a lot of the games that I play are almost kind of based on my uh like upbringing. Like there's a lot of nostalgia factor, and I feel like that's entirely like nurture. Like I
Mm.
buy the new Pokemon every year, and it's worse every year, guys. Like I enjoy it less every year, but I still fucking
Mhm.
buy it
Mhm.
because 7-year-old Gabe, it was his first video game, so he still plays it.
Yeah.
And I think like there's a lot of other games too where I'm like, I know that I enjoyed these when I was younger, so like I just want to feel that a little bit more,
Right.
or like buy a remake or something.
Mhm.
So I feel like a lot of some of that stuff that can stem from like preferences can be like what you grew up with and what you had like fondly memory wise, you know?
Right. Yeah, yeah, so I watched it again today just to refresh my memory, and to that point, Gabe, he talked about too, like, does your personality affect the games you play, or does the games you play affect your personality?
Yeah,
And he
that
had
was
a
the
thought
yeah.
experiment of like, is it a back and forth? I think there's definitely something to think about there, because if you play a game in a genre you've never played before, it might unlock something that you didn't even know you liked.
Mhm.
Like for example, I know I'm talking about a lot, but I know a lot of people got into Elden Ring and they're like, oh, I actually like this type of game. Maybe I'll go back and play all these Dark Souls games that are like notoriously hard. And they might not even known before that they would have liked those type of games. Then maybe that'll
Mhm.
change their personality a bit of like pushing through and completing this hard challenge, right? So yeah, I think it's fascinating. I'll put the video in the description as well. It's a fucking fantastic video. It's so well done.
Mhm.
But to what Gabe was just saying, the researchers that built this tool that we just did tried to correlate the results with the Big Five personality test, which we are about to go into. So the Big Five personality test is probably the most scientifically backed personality test in the psychology community, and it's very simple. There's just 5 traits, and then you get a percentile on that of where you lie as among the population on those traits. So they are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So the researchers who made the gamer motivation profile tried to correlate with these 5 traits, and they found some uh, statistical significance. I won't spoil it. I'd say go watch the video. But it's not highly correlated. So that goes to show that like your personality doesn't really affect the games you play that much. But I think it's still interesting to go into, and I'm curious what your guys' results are and what you thought your results would be and if those lined up. So I'm going to briefly just cover the 5 traits, then we'll get into our results here. So openness is a person's tendency to think in abstract, complex ways. It's like you're open to more creative ideas. High scores tend to be creative, adventurous, and intellectual. They enjoy playing with ideas and discovering novel experiences. On the opposite end, low scores tend to be practical, conventional, and focused on the concrete. Conscientiousness is someone's self-discipline and control, a kind of organization. So high scores are organized and determined and able to forego immediate gratification for the sake of long-term achievement. Low scores are impulsive and easily sidetracked. Extroversion, I think most people know. Extroversion, if you're high in it, it means you get energy from others. And if you're low, you're introverted and you conserve your energy. And also kind of obviously ties with like social settings in general. Agreeableness is a person's tendency to put others' needs ahead of their own and to cooperate rather than compete with others. So they'd rather help out other people than fight or compete with them. People who are high in agreeableness experience a great deal of empathy and tend to get pleasure out of serving and taking care of others. They're usually trusting and forgiving. And then lastly, neuroticism is a person's tendency to experience negative emotions, including fear, sadness, anxiety, guilt, and shame. Highly neurotic people kind of experience those emotions more often than others. High neuroticism scores are more likely to react to a situation with fear, anger, and sadness. Low neuroticism scores are more likely to brush off their misfortune and move on. So let's get into it. I'm gonna go to Dayton first. Dayton, what are your results?
So I'll just go down the list. So for openness, I got 77%. Conscientiousness, I can't fucking say that word. 85%. Extroversion, 69%.
Nice.
Can't even say that. Agreeableness, I got 67%. In neuroticism, 42%. So openness, yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I like to think I'm a pretty open guy. Conscientiousness, dude, this is like the infinitesimal. I can't say infinite. I can't say that word.
Infinitesimal.
Infinitesimally. I want to throw like an imminently in there. Yeah. So the C one, I got 85%. I think that's very, very apt. Basically,
Yeah, knowing how much you plan things out, that sounds very on
well,
point.
like plan things out when I actually give a shit about them.
Right.
Like foregoing immediate gratification for long-term achievement. Like, yeah, that's me. And I think that's also why in games I tend to like go into the side quests because I'm like, I know this is gonna help me out in the future.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm helping myself out a few levels ahead. The extroversion one, I think that one of the flaws of this test is that it doesn't address like it doesn't delineate between like being social and introversion versus extroversion, right? So like
Which they talked about in the video.
Right,
In
and like
the gamer video, they did differentiate that.
yeah, because like I would consider myself very social, but I would also consider myself an introvert because like I enjoy socializing with people. I like hanging out with people, but at the same time, it fucking drains me dry, and
Right.
I absolutely do not get energy by hanging out with people. Maybe in the short term I get energy from it, but long term it wipes me out. So I don't really agree with that one. Agreeableness, yeah, I think that's pretty much right on. And I think that's also like, I mean, so I, yeah, 67%. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really that competitive in games. I'm more competitive just like with myself. So I can, you know, like Rocket League, I want to be as best as I can. I don't care about anybody else. I just want to make sure that I can play well. And like with games too, like just min-maxing. And then neuroticism, yeah, pretty low score. I would say I'm pretty emotionally stable for the most part.
Sure. Nice. I can go next. So Openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism, I'm pretty mid, around the 50% range. Extroversion, I'm around 30%, so on the lower end. And agreeableness, I'm at around 75%, so on the higher end. I'm mostly agree with this. I was a little bit surprised. I thought I was going to be higher neuroticism, just because of my just anxiety stuff. But when I noticed in the quiz, they asked about like mood swings. I feel like I'm pretty stable just in general with my mood. I don't really have any like strong bursts of negative emotion or whatever. So like, it mostly checks out. Openness being mid, I think is pretty on point. I don't really try out. I like my routines, or I don't like trying new things as much. So that kind of makes sense. Conscientiousness, that would be a little bit higher because I like to think I'm pretty organized, but I think this is one where some things I'm true on both sides of consciousness. Like I think I'm high in it for organization, but I think I'm low in it for like impulsiveness. Like like conscious people are able to forego immediate gratification for the sake of long-term achievement. I don't do that shit. I'm not good at waiting for stuff, so I think I hit both ends of that. That's why I'm kind of in the middle. Extroversion being low, yep, makes sense. And then agreeableness being high, I think is very accurate. I think I often put others above myself, maybe to my own detriment at points, but yeah, that checks out for me. Joseph, what was your results?
So I'll just go down the list. Openness, 73%. I feel like that's pretty accurate. I like to think I'm pretty open about things and learning new things. Conscientiousness, 52%. I buy that. Similar with like Jacob, where it's like mostly organized here and there. And, you know, with the whole long-term gratification, there's like certain things that I'm like good about that and certain things that I'm not. I get it. Extroversion, 50% even. So
dang.
And I would say I'm the exact opposite as Dayton, where I'm not very sociable. Like I can be, but I'm not all that. But I really like being in groups. And I do get a lot of energy from like being in groups of people, whether I'm talkative or not. Like I still just really enjoy that. Agreeableness, 69%, baby.
Hey. Love to see it.
And neuroticism, 33%. I don't have negative emotions.
Oh my gosh.
I don't feel things.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. For the most part. I mean, nothing like stands out as like, oh, I didn't see that one coming. So
right. And Gub.
Yeah, you guys are gonna think I'm a piece of shit. That's fine. Openness, 69%.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of 69% today. I think that makes a lot of sense. For the most part, yeah, about 75% split. Like trying new stuff. It's fun, interesting. Set music, kind of stick to my lane in that one. But conscientious. Fuck.
You can't say it either. I'm not the only one.
No. I got it. Conscientiousness. Ooh, look at that.
You barely got it.
Recovered. Oh, thanks. 62.5%. I think that's decent. I think I'm pretty self-disciplined. I have my schedules. I stick to them. I have a goal. I'm usually really good about getting there. I think some of the questions that I was answering, I've had work on my mind a lot, so I answered them with work in mind. So I think sometimes if I don't have a deadline, it's pretty hard for me to hit it or hit a deadline. Like I'm very deadline oriented. So if I have like 5 or 6 things on my plate at once, it's hard for me to get all of them done in a reasonable time frame. And I might rank them differently in priority than other people. Extroversion, 58%. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm a lot like Dayton, where I like socializing a lot, but it absolutely wipes me out. And sometimes I just need days by myself, just to like be alone, especially like if I'm meeting new people or trying to make new friends and stuff. It takes a lot out of me, but I enjoy it in the moment. And then I get home, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to a human for 2 days. So totally makes sense. Here's where you're gonna think I'm a piece of shit. Agreeableness, 33%. Pretty low.
Abe hates people.
I hate people. No, I think it might be a little bit lower than I expected it to be, but I'm not surprised it's low. Especially like I said, in terms of work, I usually kind of stay in my lane, and I help my team, like the team that I'm on immediately, but other groups not so great about, to be honest. And
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe I don't know, just the way I grew up is it's very much be an individual, do your own shit kind of a thing, and don't really help others, which is something definitely can work on, but just always kind of the way that I was kind of brought up, and makes sense why it's low.
Mm-hmm.
Neuroticism, 73%. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm extremely neurotic about a lot of things. I overthink things all the time and find new ways to be anxious. I will solve a problem in my head and then find another problem that will fuck up the solution that I imaginarily solved, and then do that forever. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Uh, and it's just something, takes time to get over, but
Right.
I think that's
Well,
pretty.
and you said like you guys are piece of shit. There's no right or wrong answer to these, for anyone
Oh, I was talking about the
listening. Like,
33%
no, I know,
specifically.
but it's like for any of these are just like percentiles. There is no like good or bad thing you can
Sure.
have.
Yeah,
For
it's
any of
just
these,
it's
so,
again the percentile based on other people that have taken this.
right.
Right. I mean, it's all self-report too, so.
Yeah.
It's funny, Gabe. You mentioned like being more of an individual, not like helping people. That helping your own people first. It's funny to me because like I always think that in my head because I am like I don't want to be bothered with other people who I don't really care about as much. But if anybody asks me for help, I have to help them. Like I can't say no to
Really?
people if they ask for help. And it's all even if there's somebody I don't really like that much or I don't really want to spend the time on. If they ask me, I'm like, yeah, I can help you out. So
I'm
that's
very much like tribal, like this is my camp. I'll help you through and through, but like other camp bad. Like, I don't know.
uh, all right. So the last question I want to ask all of you is: do you think your Big Five lines up at all with your gamer profile? Do you think there is a correlation? Do you see any threads, from any of your stats to your either like the profile they gave you or just any games in particular? Um, I can go first. I don't think that agreeableness is a stat that correlates well with games, at least not that I can think of. I do enjoy playing co-op games with my friends and like helping them out. That gives me some pleasure. Maybe that's part of it. Um, I think extroversion being low makes sense. Like playing an MMO is like my worst nightmare. Like I don't want strangers asking me like to help them out or just strangers like talking to me in like a chat. I'm like, no, no, no. I'm trying to do my own thing over here. Please don't bug me. Um, Openness I think is interesting because they mentioned in the video too that as you get older, your openness tends to kind of decrease and like the game. So really, it's the games you're interested in might just kind of decrease. You might just pick games that you're used to playing, like those genres. I've definitely noticed that in recent years. Like whenever I watch showcases, I feel like I'm interested in less and less games every year. So I'm like less willing to try new genres. So I think that's interesting. But and the conscientiousness, I think the part of me that is very conscientious does apply to games, which is that completionist, find everything, get all the green boxes, give me that dopamine. Because that's very satisfying to do in a game world where you have all the tools to succeed. You just have to do it, as opposed to real life where you don't necessarily have all the tools you need to succeed. And in games, everything is there, so you can just do it and complete it, and it feels good. So, yeah. Dayton, what about you?
Yeah, I think conscientiousness. There we go. I did it first time. I was sounding it out earlier to make sure I didn't fuck it up. I think
You muted the
that
mic.
I think that one is like really on point for me. For like my games, like I already talked about it. Like if I know that doing this quest is gonna help me out in a little bit, I'm gonna do it 10 out of 10 times. I don't care if it's a pain in the ass. I'm gonna do it. The extroversion one, definitely not. Like my gamer score was like 14% social. Like I don't really care about hanging out with people when I'm gaming. Like
Right.
I'm just as good with not playing with anybody as I am playing with people. But if I have to
Right.
compete with them, then it's like I'm not having a good time. And then yeah, I mean like agreeableness. I would say that's definitely like reflected in like like if I can help out, like for example like with Borderlands, like if I know of like a good like synergy with like your like loadout, then I'll tell you about it. But like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
appear like a piece of shit by being like, you need to do this. This is the best fucking
Right.
thing to do. Do it now.
Right.
And then yeah, I mean neuroticism. I think that's. I mean Gabe's witnessed this in Rocket League. Like I won't if I'm like not happy with either how I'm playing or how like he's playing. I just instead of getting mad, I just don't say anything, and I'm just like, all right, we're done.
It's almost
Yeah,
worse.
I've seen that a lot too when we play Rocket League.
Yeah,
Quite often
It's
actually.
almost worse. It's like the
What?
disappointed father.
You think it's worse than me flipping shit?
I mean, the silence says enough, man. It's like
Silence is louder than words, dude.
sometimes,
It's like,
yeah.
like when Dayton isn't talking, like, oh, Dayton's pissed. And we can't even see your
Yeah.
face runs on audio, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you can just tell when Dayton's pissed off.
Yeah, for sure.
But I never snapped.
Gabe, what
though.
about you?
I rarely
yeah.
snap.
You
I don't
never
think I've
snap.
ever snapped.
No, I've never heard you actually yell.
I mean, you've like quit silently. I think that's like your version of snapping. It's like you'll rage quit, but it's like again with silence. And it's like
It's like
All right.
Dayton says, "All right, I'm gonna be done," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, Dayton's tilted."
Yeah, and that cadence too. That's pretty good. For me, I guess like the only things that I could think of that it feels like kind of a strange argument to make, but like I guess you could make an argument for like neuroticism and like twitchy actionness, like having control of it. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a stretch of an argument, but
No, I can kind of see that, like the high anxiety, like kind of always kind of vibrating, and that gives you like that,
yeah,
swivel
like,
headshot kind of energy.
Yeah, I like that twitchy shit, and it's fun to like. I don't know, like I keep thinking of like Doom when I think of like neuroticism. Like that game is just like you keep track of everything and then just destroy everything. It's just super fun, and like I feel like that's a healthy way to like it's a healthy anxiety almost. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other ones. I think the only thing I can think of for agreeableness is like I know it sounds super lame. Anytime I play a single player game, I hate like picking the answers that piss off characters, even though they're like not real people and literally code. Like if it makes them upset or sad, I like will do anything in my power to stop that.
Yeah.
I know some people like will hit no just to piss them off, and like you'll eventually have to hit yes. I don't do that shit. What else? I guess extroversion was 58% for me, but on my profile it was like way higher for social games, and I think that's just because, like I said, I think I just play in my moods. Like sometimes I play games when I'm in a social mood. So, that 58% of the time, if this is 100% accurate, which it's not, but when I am extroverted, I'll play a game to hang out with some friends or something and make it more of a social experience than anything.
Right.
So, and then openness. Oh, go ahead.
I was say it's a good excuse to talk to people. It's like,
yeah,
when we play a game, we can do something while we're talking.
Especially like friends who live far away. I mean, makes sense. So
there we go. It's like when Dayton wanted to play Apex the other night, and Gabe's like, "Nope, not playing it. You're not my friend. I want to play Apex."
Yeah, I have it downloaded. I just didn't want to get wrecked, man. I wasn't in the mood to get my ass blasted for 2 hours because you would get tilted, I'd get tilted, and then it just wouldn't be fun.
We could spend 2 hours in the training range. How about that?
Oh, fun! That's what I want. Yeah. I have one more. I guess openness. I think you can kind of correlate that to the type of games you play. I definitely think I play a decent gamut. I definitely tendencies towards those action-based ones, but I play a lot of different games. I definitely think, like you were saying, it's shrinking. I definitely focus more on nostalgia games or like genres that I know I'll enjoy, especially with how many games are coming out. Like it's just like a non-stop onslaught, and it's like not even like time, but also like money. Just to buy all the games, it's hard to pick. So it's a lot easier to pick a game that's a genre or a series is gonna be a banger for you than like take a risk on something. Like the last thing I want is to add another game to my Steam library, play it for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I can't return it. but I don't want to beat it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Um,
That's rough.
oh.
I feel you. Joseph, close us out.
Oh God.
I gave you so much time.
Yeah, the
I
most
know,
time.
and I've had to pee the entire time. So yeah, my highest was openness, and I think because I had another one of my highest ones on this, or the previous one was discovery, and I think those are pretty easily correlated. Because yeah, I just want to look around and see what I can destroy or not, see what I can fuck with in the game. I think that's always, I don't know, one of those fun things to like, okay, how far can I push, the game, and like what are the limits of it?
Right.
And I mean, yeah, my next highest was agreeableness, which again, we kind of discussed. Like the best is like I enjoy playing like co-op games with like friends rather than competitive games, which I think is very correlative to like extroversion for me, where it's like, yeah, I want to hang out with my friends and play games. I don't care to like play games with people I don't necessarily know or against people I don't necessarily know.
I'll say those two statues. When I feel like you like play anything, not like anything, but if we're like playing a game, you're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, are you willing to try any game? Pretty
Yeah,
much. So
yeah,
that kind of
exactly. And I mean, I haven't really played a whole lot of games recently either, so it's harder for me to um kind of think about this other than like what The Witcher is like the main game I've been playing recently, which
Right.
I need to finish still.
You're so
Um,
close.
I am, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm at the quest where I gotta recruit friends, and it's like, fuck that. I don't have friends in this game. Luckily, I'm agreeable and made sure to quick save before every interaction so that if it goes south, I can just go back. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd say it's pretty accurate to the games I play and that kind of stuff. There's nothing too left field. My two results are pretty similar and pretty easy to correlate between. So
Sure. All right. Well, yeah. And if I remember, I'll have all the links to everything in the description below, and you can do these two tests yourself or watch the video. Highly recommended. But yeah, that is our show for this week. We're happy to be back. As always, find us on YouTube and podcast services on Friday mornings. Don't forget to follow us on socials. Links are in the description below. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.